Hey, everybody. Welcome to the CNC with Dave show. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. We didn't have a show last week, but I hope everybody had a very nice Christmas and is ready to bring in 2017. We've got kind of a thin panel tonight. A lot of people have things to do and places to go, people to see, stuff like that. So it's just me and Mark currently. But we're going to go over some of the 2016 highlights or maybe lowlights, whichever they may be, and talk about some other things. I guess we'll go ahead and get the panel introductions out of the way. Mark, you want to go ahead?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay. Hi, y'all. I'm Mark Lindsay, and you can find me here on YouTube and on Facebook in too many groups there, and also on Instagram when I can remember. I'm on Instagram, and I'll be taking questions and taking suggestions, etc., etc. And I see a bunch of new faces over there, so let's just have some fun.
Okay, very good. I did want to talk about, like I always do, want to talk about a couple of things. You know, we just had the Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge ended, well, Christmas Eve, midnight Christmas Eve, I guess. We ended up with 16 entries. So I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to those 16 people who sent in the videos, and I'm going to kind of name them off here so I don't miss anybody. I see Jim Johnson over there in the chat. Hey, roll tide, Jim. Yeah, in case anybody's wondering, Alabama won again today. Okay, so we had videos from Peter Pasuelo, Rob Schuster, Paul with P&G Custom Woodworks, Dustin Webb, Richard McIntosh, Jim Senecola, Russ Meadows, Alan Kreifels, Paul Lawrence, Bob Hiltebrattle, Becca Miller, Jonathan Duncan, Ronald Cool, Bruce Lund, Mike Mertzke, and Jim Johnson. So I want to give a big shout out to you guys. Thanks very much for taking the time to do the Christmas challenge. We'll be announcing the winners, I guess I should say, because we've got several prizes for that. We'll be doing that on next Saturday show, January 17th. And also, I want to give a shout out to Rockler, because they're, if you look over there on the website, you see the prizes that the sponsors have done. We've got Rockler's giving away a nice CNC router bit set. I think it's got like a $200 value. John Myers giving a $150 prize. Russell Clarity's doing, I think, a $25 gift certificate and one of his Simply Wooden Creation clocks. And Zach Manring's giving away a couple of his famous push sticks. So, and I'll have some gift cards and probably some hats and some other things going on too. So I want to give a shout out to the sponsors there. And I see Russ Meadows has joined us. Russ, you want to pop in here and tell everybody where they can find you?
Hey, Happy New Year's. Y'all can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube under Rusty Nails Wood Shop.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm so excited that you are now an official YouTuber. That is so cool.
But for a long time, I was one that was over here, one of the only ones on the panel that didn't have a CNC. And then I got a CNC and kept it for a while. And then I got it out.
We'll talk about that.
Oh man, everybody has. I'm into the big leagues now, and I'm feeling better about it. Now I just need to learn how to do videos.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time, because I know you're new to not just the YouTube thing, but the CNC and all that. So for you to take the time to put up an entry, that meant a lot. So I appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Okay. What else we got here? I also want to kind of give an update. You know, we've got a little giveaway going on. Going to give away a 36 by 24 GarageWorks CNC. If you haven't already heard about that. And I just want to give an entry update. And by the way, you've got like less than 3 hours now to get your entry in, because the entries will stop at midnight tonight. Same as 2016. So you got a little less than 3 hours to get an entry in, and we've got right now, well, I said earlier 915, but I've probably got another 10 on my phone since I said that. So we've got well over 900 entries, and we'll be doing that live drawing 2 weeks from tonight, January 14th. So put on a pot of coffee and come join us.
That was more than the first time.
We're gonna be here till we give that thing away. So
Yep.
Way more than you had the first time.
Yeah, we had 869 back in February when we gave away the smaller one. But we've got with about almost 3 hours ago, may get close to 1,000 this time. I don't know.
We've got a couple of people here in the chat asking where to enter.
Okay, you go to www.garageworkscnc.com. You should have that bookmarked on your browser. If you don't, you need to do that. But yeah, go to www.garageworkscnc.com. When you get to the home page, look across the top and you'll see the different pages, and there's one that's called CNC Giveaway. Click on that and that'll take you to the page where you fill out the entry form and submit it.
And by the way, y'all, that's GarageWorks with an X.
Yes, that is with a
WORX.
And that's why you should have it bookmarked, so that way you don't have to remember how to spell it. So.
Yep.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to spell it, you can also look at any of the videos, because usually you'll see that decal right on the front of that safety orange.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so what else we got? I wanted to. You say something?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to give another shout out too while I'm doing some shout outs here, and I think he's over there in the chat. Michael Chipser. I know he was over there earlier.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to him because I hit him up for some advice and recommendations about something. I've mentioned before that he got like a whole bunch of old computers that he's fixing up, and a lot of these have parallel ports, and so they're perfect for a dedicated computer for your hobby CNC. So yeah, there's Michael on chat. Hey, Michael. But anyway, so I bought one of those from Michael, and I hadn't got a chance to try it out. Well, I was online the other day, and I was getting ready to buy a monitor and a keyboard and whatever else I needed to put that little computer out on that big green machine. And so I hit Michael up on Facebook and asked him about, because I ran across on Amazon these touch screens, and he sent me a link to one, and in fact that was kind of the one I was looking at. And then he also hooked me up with a link to a keyboard. And so I bought both of those, and I haven't got them hooked up to the machine yet, but I did hook them up last night, just kind of right here where I'm sitting now, to play around with it. And man, I love that little touch screen and that little keyboard. So I'll be probably doing a video showing you what I got when I get it set up out there. But that's pretty cool, and it wasn't really that expensive. The monitor was less than $200. I think it was 187 or 177, something like that. But I just think that's cool to be able to have the touchscreen instead, because that's kind of what the Mach 3 screen looks like. It's got all those buttons, and now you can just touch them. So I want to give a shout out to Michael. Appreciate the links and the recommendations, and also appreciate that awesome computer that I got from you, because that thing is pretty sweet.
Now, how do you like that touch screen? I've heard from a couple people who have experimented with the touch screen before, and they say that if it gets a little dusty or dirty, they start having problems.
Well, since I haven't actually tried it out in the shop, I can't kind of say one way or the other on that. But just what little bit I played around with it, I mean, I like it. I like it. Now, I did buy like I should have brought it out here, but the keyboard that Michael recommended to me, it's a real small keyboard, and so it's not going to take up a lot of room, which is what I wanted. I didn't want to have to make a big, stand and stuff for that. But it's also got I don't know what you call it. Instead of having to hook a mouse up to it, it's got a little pad, kind of like a laptop does.
Okay.
With the 2 buttons. So that's built right into that keyboard. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I'm going to have to, if you see my video of my laptop stand, I'm now going to have to modify it and put another arm on it to mount that monitor. But yeah, I'll have to let you know, Mark, how that does as far as dust. Okay. And I saw, I think it was in one of the reviews, some guy was talking, I don't know if he was just messing or not, but he was saying that it was so sensitive. Now, I don't know what monitor I was reading the review on, but he said it was so sensitive, like if a fly landed on it, it would.
No.
I don't know.
They're not that sensitive.
I don't think so, because I know when you touch it with your finger, you have to kind of touch it. So, and maybe there's a way to adjust the sensitivity on it too. I don't know.
Yeah, touch screens don't work that way. It's like you can't reach over with a stick and touch it. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to slap a fly on it, you can do it.
Oh yeah.
Don't slap the fly on the screen.
Yeah.
Now, Ronald Ledger is asking, does your touch screen work with Windows XP?
It says it does. Now, like I said, I've only hooked it up to the computer that I got from Michael, and he had Windows 7 on that.
Okay, so it's Windows 7. All right. So
it's Windows 7, but the the paperwork for the monitor says it'll work with all of them, and it's it's really cool because you hook the of course you have a power plug obviously, and then you have your regular video connection, and then the part that makes the touchscreen work is just a USB cable that goes from the monitor to the computer. So it was pretty sweet. I was having fun playing around with it last night, and I can't wait to get it set up out there. Because that's part of my 2017 New Year's resolutions. I guess some of the things I want to do out there in the garage, because I do spend a lot more time out there running kits now than I do in my shop around back, actually making stuff. So I figure if I'm going to spend that much time out there, I want to change some things. I recently bought, and I'll give a shout out to Michael Mirsky, because he was the one telling me about the drag chain or E-chain or whatever you call the stuff. So I bought like 4 or 5 pieces of that. So I'm going to try to do some better cable management. And I hope everybody's sitting down when I say this, because I've been running CNCs for 10 years and I've never used these things, limit switches. And I've had this pack of limit switches, and there's even a little E-stop in here. I've had them for I don't know how many years.
Whoa. E-stop and limit switches.
Yeah, I figure what the heck, if I'm going to go to the trouble to run that drag chain, I might as well go ahead and run the wiring.
Who are you and what'd you do with Dave?
I know. I've always been one of those guys that just let the wires hang off the back and sling around and stuff like that. I'm actually going to go straighten up a little bit for 2017. So, well, no, I tell you, I have people all the time email me or message me on Facebook or something, and they want to know how to wire limit switches. And I'm like, I know there's diagrams on the Xylotex website and other people have done it, but and it's not hard from what I understand.
Yeah.
But I just don't have it, so I'm not going to try to tell you how to do it. But I figure what the heck, I'll I'll put them on there, and maybe I'll do a quick video or something showing them how I wire mine anyway.
Okay.
And because like I said, I've had that package. I don't even remember when I bought them. I know I've had them probably 3 or 4 years at least.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I tell you, Russ, now that you have your CNC built, we can start a new pool. And that is how long it takes for him to go ripping them damn things out of there once he gets them done.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I said, it is kind of cool, I think, for the people that have limit switches, you know, or home switch. I guess you should call them home switches or whatever. You know, when you start it up and it goes over and does all that. But, you know, as far as the way I run my machine, they probably won't really be that big a deal for me. Because, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time and never used them, never needed them. So, but I got them. So I figured, what the heck, I'll put them on there.
I haven't been doing this for very long, and I've never run into a problem where a limit switch would have helped me out any. Because it's, I'm like you, you know, you set your 0 and off you go. That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I know, and I see people over in the chat talking about, you know, somebody saying, when do you limit switches instead of in the Z? Oh, interested in the Z-axis. And it's probably because, you know, if you're not paying attention and you hit it and it goes up too quick, you bottom it out or run it up into something. And, you know, not bragging, but I just don't ever do stuff like that. So
yeah,
I haven't had a need for limit switches.
me either.
Like I said, I'm just basically going to put these on, 1, because I have them, and 2, because I have people ask me how to wire them up all the time. And I figure I'll put them on there just for no other reason to do a video and show people how to wire them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I knew that would get you. because I'm not a limit switch guy, really.
Yeah, I just didn't know if maybe you had gotten into Rocky's food or what was going on there.
Okay, well, you know, I know we've only got me, you, and Russ here on the panel so far. But let's go ahead and since I've already spilled the beans on some of my resolutions, I've got some more I'll share with you here in a little bit. But let's start with Russ over there and see what kind of New Year's resolutions or you know, maybe things you want to do in your shop or with your CNC in the coming year. What say you, Russ Meadows?
Well, you know, all this Christmas I've been out delivering this mail, and I've seen all the yard ornaments, the lawn ornaments, whatever you want to call them. Every one of them I see, I have to take a picture of it because, man, I said I like that. They got some. One of the houses I had a Grinch that was, and I said, man, that thing was, I loved it. So I took a picture of it, and I'm gonna come and do something with that. I want to do one of those. And you were talking about touch screens and stuff, and I can't wait to get this laptop that I'm using out there with that UC CNC controller, because it's got a touch screen monitor on there. And right now I'm out there with the old style desktop, and I use a mouse and things like that. And there's been a couple of times it's been real hairy. I mean, not quite hitting that stop button quick enough, and my bit kind of goes sideways. So I want to get this laptop out there and do some things with it out there. I just don't know what to cut. There's so much out there that I see that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. As soon as I retire, I'm going to have plenty of time.
Now that Grinch, that wasn't when you went by Jerry Brown's house, was it?
No, that was a pretty one too, but it wasn't the same one.
Yeah, he's done a couple of them, I think, that are really sweet.
Oh yeah, Jerry did a good job on it. I saw one of them, and he did a really good job on it. But this one was different, and it was outstanding. And it's like, I want that one, so I'm gonna try that. There's a bunch of things. I've been piling up patterns and stockpiling all kinds of things so I can get out there and do some more cutting. Mm-hmm. But for Christmas, I told you on Russ's show that the kids got together and they gave me a gift certificate to Woodcraft. And so I get on Woodcraft online, and they gave me $75 gift card. And so I got on there and I went looking, and I bought me a piece of wood that I need for a cross I got to make. And then I bought one router bit, and that killed that $75.
Yep.
Son of a gun, that didn't last. One piece of wood and one router bit, and I'm $75 in the hole.
Yep.
Man, that was expensive. But it was one I had my eye on, so I needed a smaller bit.
That'll bite you.
It bit me. Y'all didn't tell me that all this extra stuff. My wife keeps telling me that I thought you had everything you need for that CNC. I said, well, you never have everything.
It's kind of a rabbit hole like everything else, you know.
Just let me when your wife says something like that, just remind her that tools are to men like shoes are to women.
No.
And when you and I were chatting one day, I believe online, I said something about, have you ever had a lathe? And you said, yeah, you just got rid of it. I said, well, a CNC is just like a lathe. The CNC, yeah, there's the expense, because now you got to have the other stuff to go along with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even if it's just material, I mean, you can't keep cutting the same material all the time. You got to keep buying materials. So
sure enough.
So got a real quick one for you here, Dave. Ed White wants to know: have you used a muscle chuck yet?
No, I have not, Ed. When I went down to Ed's shop, he's down in Warner Robins, Georgia, and I went down there the other week and put a machine together for him. And he gave me a muscle chuck. I'm sure most of you guys may know what that is. And I've actually put it on the router that's on the, I got so many CNCs. How do I say this so you know which one I'm talking about? It's the Gatton CNC that basically is a workbench right now because I keep stuff piled up on top of it. Right now I've got the GarageWorks CNC sitting on top of it. But anyway, the router that's on that machine, I put it on that router, but I have not been able to run it yet. But I will, and I'll do a review or whatever on that, I guess. But I've seen a lot of people using them just in other videos that I've watched. I now that I see what it looks like, I see them on other machines. Was there a couple more questions somewhere, Mark? I thought.
Oh yeah, they're piling up.
Okay.
Let's see. Lyle Foyt wants to know what kind of breakout board you're going to use for those limit switches.
Cheap one. You know,
just the one from Xylotex.
Yeah, or yeah, I'll probably get it from there. Or I don't know. They're all pretty cheap, I think, aren't they? You know, $10-15 maybe.
It was $15. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if anybody wants to send me one, I'll be happy to use it. But no, I'll just pick one up somewhere cheap or off of Amazon or something. I'm addicted to Amazon. I tell you, I love that place.
Now Stephen Ozer is coming in and said, has anyone built a GarageWorks CNC with servo motors? Not that I've seen. Well,
Steve, to answer your question, kind of, you know, if you've been to my website, you know what a GarageWorks CNC is. It's kind of a DIY kit that they can buy either. Hey, Bubba, roll Tide. You know, I sell a DIY kit, which, you know, like package A is kind of like the rolling chassis. That's all the steel components, you know, the V-groove bearings, the hardware, everything to make what I call a rolling chassis. Then there's other people that will buy the package B, which is the precision Acme lead screws that, you know, if they buy them from me, I cut them to length for them. I also supply the Acme nuts and the anti-backlash nuts and the couplers, the support bearings and the little mounting blocks and stuff like that. But I don't supply the drive box and stepper motors. I kind of leave that up to people, you know, I have a link on there to the Xylotex website. Actually, it takes you right to the kit that I use all the time, and I've used tons of them. But I don't tell people, you know, hey, you buy this Garage Works, you got to put this on there. I don't care what you put on there. You can shop around, and that's why this is a DIY kit. You know, you can do what you want to with it. I'm just trying to get people the basic thing that they need to get going in CNC. So I would not doubt that maybe somewhere there's somebody that may have used a servo motor on our Garage Works, but I don't know that to be a fact, because a lot of times I don't hear from them again. They get it and they're so busy playing with it, I never hear from them again. So I think probably a lot of people go ahead and buy the Xylotex kit that I recommend, just because it's so plug and play, and you don't have to know anything about electronics to get it hooked up and going. So I know sometimes I sound like a salesman for those guys, but Jeff has been real good to me over the 10 years or so that I've been buying, and every single stepper motor that I've ever pulled out of the box works. So that's why I continue to use them. That's why I continue to talk about them. And it's just easy. You know, if you're one of those guys that like tinkering, soldering wires, and, you know, all that stuff, that's great. You know, you can get a gecko or whatever and put on it. Doesn't matter to me.
Now, he came back and said he was just wondering if the servos was worth the extra investment.
I don't know. I don't know what the price difference is between servos versus steppers. But it's not going to make the machine any more accurate. So, I don't know.
Is it worth the extra investment? That's a judgment call, you know?
Yeah.
That really is a judgment call. It's, I don't know. I can't even think of anything similar that I could compare it to. You know, it really is a judgment call. I don't know that it's actually all that beneficial, because these are home hobby CNCs. This is not something that's going to compete with a Legacy or something like that. These are home hobby CNC machines. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, for any viewer out there that maybe this is their very first time watching this show and you don't know me from the Man in the Moon, my whole thing has always been to help people that, you know, want to have a CNC. Maybe it's in their garage, their shed, you know, wherever, you know, provide them some kind of an option to get a CNC. You know, that's always been my goal. If you want a CNC, I want you to be able to have a CNC. You know, I have a lot of different options. You can get one of the Gatton CNC kits, and if you don't have a lot of money, you can build it as you go, because you don't have to buy everything all at once. That's a really good option for a lot of people. And, you know, if you've watched any of my videos lately, you know I'm a big fan of those, because that's what I run all the time. I don't have a Garage Works CNC that I keep set up and use for my personal use. I use the Gatton CNCs, which are the plywood machines. And then, of course, with the Garage Works, you know, that's a little bit more money up front, but it's still a DIY kit where you still don't have to buy everything all at once like you do some of these turnkey things. Right. Now, if you got the money for those and that's what you want, that's fine, you know. But I've always tried to make something more affordable for people, because I know when I first got started, I was in the same boat. I started looking online for little small CNC machines, and I found some really nice ones, but they were way out of my budget. So I had to just come up with my own thing, and that's kind of how all this got started. So.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
Okay, I want to answer this one question here. I see Dan.
Okay. Yeah.
Wickware.
Yeah.
It says, why did you go from plywood to steel for your DIY CNC? people will ask me all the time, well, which one do you like better, the Gatton CNC or the GarageWorks CNC? And that's kind of like saying, which one of your kids do you love the most? They're both great machines. It's just different options. And actually, I made steel ones before I ever made plywood machines. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. Most of you may not even know because you didn't know me back then, but I used to sell steel machines similar to the GarageWorks, but they were under the Sidewinder CNC name. That's how that Sidewinder kind of got caught on with that first plywood machine that never really intended it to be a Sidewinder, but people started calling it that. It kind of stuck. But yeah, it's not that I've gone from plywood to steel or from steel to plywood. I do them both.
Yep. And that's what I told him in the chat. I said, just more options,
Yeah. Because a lot of people see, there's CNC machines appeal to different types of people. There are some people that are like Russ Meadows here, that's a woodworker that does scroll sawing and different things, and they want to add a CNC to their shop just to add another dimension of things they can do. And then there's other people that might want a CNC machine that aren't necessarily woodworkers. They just want to do CNC work. So, with my kits, it kind of works for either way. If they're more of a woodworking kind of guy and they want to build their own, own machine, and the plywood machine may appeal to them more. If they're strictly just a CNC guy, then they may like the GarageWorks better. I don't know.
Well, a lot of it has to do with budget as well. I mean, if I could afford a GarageWorks, I'd be all over it, but I can't afford that right now. So I'm with plywood, your shoestring budget build, for those who don't know me.
Yeah, and those are fine machines. There's nothing wrong at all. I got
no complaints at all. I mean, I've had it up and running since March of 2014, and the only problems I have ever had with it have been problems of my own making. And I see, somebody here saying, yeah, steel is stiffer. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Steel is stiffer. But then I have to ask you, what are you trying to do? If you're going to cut out, if you're cutting out wood, plastic, acrylic, things like that, then that plywood machine is absolutely perfect. If you don't believe me, Dave's got a video of him on his channel writing his gantry.
I was just about to say that.
Moving it back and forth with him writing the gantry.
Video.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let me mark the time. 9:34.
Yep, I gave you a half hour.
I was going to say it too.
I knew that was going to come up sooner or later.
And if you're going to be machining engine blocks or cylinder heads or something like that, you probably need to be looking at something else anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't found anything that my little plywood shoestring budget build CNC won't cut. That, I haven't found any problems with it yet. And if I ever get to that point, I need to be looking at a GarageWorks and moving up. So I don't know if that made any sense or not.
It did to me.
So here we go. Fella said, I'm from West Virginia originally. What's a shoestring? Oh, okay. Yeah. One in every crowd. But so, okay.
Yeah, somebody even mentioned that in the chat. Totally Wood Workshop. Who is that? I can't remember who that is.
That's Jim Sinicola.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I knew it. I can't see that little logo, the picture. It's too small. But yeah, he said something about me riding the gantry on it. And I just did that as a lighthearted attempt to show, because I get emails all the time or people asking me, is plywood a strong enough material to make a CNC out of? What if I want to make it really wide? And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try to put an end to that question. And, because if my big butt can sit on it and ride.
He's not kidding.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But then I had some people comment getting all serious about it, and I'm like,
I thought that was
Are they really? People are getting.
Well, I'm not going to mention any names. In fact, I don't even know the guy's name because you know how the trolls are. They always hide behind their YouTube username or whatever.
Mhm.
But he put on some. Nobody probably even saw it because I read about. You know how when you read a comment and it's so long, it'll say read more, and you click on it, and it like dropped down, and it was like super long,
15 paragraphs.
And I read about the first 2 or 3 lines of it, and I just went ahead and deleted it. And I thought, yeah, I probably just really ticked that guy off because he probably spent 30 minutes writing up that real serious analysis of my writing the gantry and how it doesn't prove anything. And I'm like, I'll just delete in like 3 seconds. So, but yeah, lighten up, folks. That was just me having a little fun writing the gantry to show that plywood does not.
Yep.
You build it right, it doesn't sag and all that. So, people get a little too serious sometimes.
I know what he was upset about. When you were riding that gantry, you had your feet on the table. You had to put your feet up to make it worthwhile.
No, if you look close, I raised my feet up. I had my whole weight on it. I actually had to build a saddle though, because I had to take a couple pieces of 2x4 and a piece of plywood, so it would straddle that lead screw.
That lead screw, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that ride proved is that you've been drinking too much.
No, I actually hadn't been drinking that day, Lyle. I would have been scared to get on that thing if I'd been drinking because I'd be afraid I'd push the wrong button on that pendant and it'd shoot me off the back end or something. Yeah, just trying to have a little fun there, guys. That's all.
And you know what? It made the point. It actually did prove the point, because there are a lot of the aluminum guys. I mean, you say you got a plywood CNC. Oh, well, that thing will never hold up. Mine is a lot more rigid. So it's like, really? Climb your happy tail end up, sit on your gantry, and lift up your feet, run it back and forth, and let's see how strong that aluminum is.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to see it. Okay, on a serious note, T. Stewie wants to know, what's the #1 safety issue you had this year that you plan to change?
Who's he directing that question at?
I guess everybody.
Huh.
I guess everybody.
Well, #1 safety issue?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any safety issues. I mean, I still got all 10.
Yep, same here.
I mean, I guess the closest, and it wasn't really a safety issue. It was more just a failure. I had the dust get in that plug and make my Z-axis start acting all funky and messed up one of the parts I was cutting. But, that wasn't really I mean, I guess if I hadn't have been standing right there watching it, it could have turned into a safety issue because it may have caught fire and burned my garage down or something. But other than that, nothing.
Russ?
Well, as I haven't been doing it long enough, but I have done some stupid things that, it's a learning process for me. And I've let the smoke out of a couple of pieces of wood real quick, And but I was standing there watching it, so I got things corrected. So man, that's a lot of smoke in here.
Yeah.
But, if you don't know, you don't know, and you find out quick that there's some things you just don't do.
Yeah.
And vast majority of I think what my problems have been to this point is just clamping issues and stuff. And once I get those straightened out, I'm good.
You've opened up a whole can of worms talking about that gantry ride, Mark, because there's people over in the chat saying they're going to install a seatbelt on their gantry now.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that next. I was gonna say that maybe that safety issue should have been a seatbelt on your gantry.
Okay, let me just do a disclaimer.
You beat me to it.
It's New Year's Eve. If you're hitting the bottle a little bit, don't go out there and hop on that CNC machine and try to ride it.
Have your seat backs in the full upright and locked position and your trays.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Driving cowboy.
As far as safety issues are concerned, I haven't had a safety issue. But you know, wow, that's a harder question to answer than it first appears. I haven't really had any safety issues. I mean, I try to keep know where your hands are, know where your fingers are, know where your digits are, and focus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just focus, and that'll take care of most of your problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, CNCs, as far as woodworking equipment, you know, it's to me, it's much safer than, you know, a bandsaw or a table saw or something like that, I suppose. You do, just like any power equipment, you have to, you know, use this up here and know what you're doing. Don't get in a hurry. Don't rush. You know. But as I've said many times, you know, I fire mine up and go off and do something else. I've got now where I've got a camera on it, which I'm still real close. I mean, I can hear it through the garage door here. But I'll have my tablet, you know, with the camera on there, so I can see it move, and I can sit in here and do something else, or maybe be back in the office doing something on the computer. And as long as I have the tablet with me and that camera watching, and the volume turned up enough, because back there I have to turn the volume up on the tablet because I can't hear it from back there. You know, just glance at it every once in a while and make sure it's still moving, and you're good. I'm one of those guys that don't like to sit and watch a CNC. I'd rather be multitasking doing something else.
Sure. Okay, let's see. Oh, we got somebody here. Hoondog66 just came in. Says one of his Y-axis motors makes a loud groaning noise when operating. What could it be? Lubrication? Maybe a little bit of misalignment?
Yeah, that's not much to go on, but yeah, I'd say, you know, is it aligned properly? You know, if you're running your Y-axis with two motors like I do, you know, is your gantry cattywampus or something? You know, it's probably something mechanical. It just needs to be straightened out.
Yeah. First thing I would say, you turned me on to this, Dave. First thing I would suggest is a little bit of white lithium grease on the lead screw. Check it to make sure it's square, make sure it's running square, and then put a little bit of white lithium grease on the lead screw. Run it back and forth and see if that does it. And if that doesn't, maybe binding up a little bit, it may be you have your support bearing or your motor mount a little bit off, and might need to adjust that some.
Yeah. And I would say, you know, again, I build a lot of these things, and sometimes when you fire it up for the first time and you know, start jogging it back and forth, and it may hang up, or this stepper motor stalls a little bit or something. And it's not necessarily that it's out of alignment. It's just everything brand new is so tight. Those Acme nuts and stuff, that, you know, they're really snug. So if you're running it on a dry lead screw like that, you know, it may hit just a spot enough to make it stall a little bit. And a lot of times I put a little dab of white lithium grease, run it back and forth, and that clears it right up without doing anything. Of course, I always try to make sure mine are aligned properly before I ever start jogging it around.
Yeah, and then that's real easy to do. Also, I back mine on the old Shoestring budget. I just back mine up to where it should be both sides of the gantry are touching the motor mounts, and shut off the controller box and turn the lead screws by hand to make sure that they're just touching. Then turn the control box back on. Then I know it's all square and set and ready to go. But we'll also say this: expect that if it's cold, if you go out in your shop and it's a cold morning, run that gantry back and forth for a couple of minutes. because things contract when they get cold, and plastic and steel contract at different rates.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad you brought that up, Mark, because I've been meaning to write. I'm going to write a program. I used to have one back in the old days, but I don't know where it is. I'll have to write another one. But I'm going to write a program that will kind of like a warm-up program where it will move all 3 axes, move them back and forth, crisscrossing and stuff like that. And I will upload that file to the Gatton CNC file section on Facebook or something if anybody wants it. You'll have to make sure that, of course, when I write the program, make sure your machine's not smaller and it's going to go out of the limits there. But I'll probably make it to do like, I don't know, 30 inches by 30 inches and just zigzag and Z going up and down and stuff like that. And it's a good idea to do something like that. Run it when you go out there and it's really, really cold. Get it kind of warmed up a little bit.
I just do it by hand. I use an Xbox 360 controller to control my CNC. So I run it about half speed. It's Hoondog is Kevin. Okay, yeah, Kevin, has it been cool there in your shop in the mornings?
Who's that? Kevin Calhoun? Is that who that is?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
That's Kevin. Yeah, that's Kevin down in Allen, Texas.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, if it's been cold in your shop, run that gantry back and forth, and let it warm up a little bit, and a lot of that'll go away because mine sure does. Mine does that, but I'm talking, I go out there and it's 28 in the shed. I got to run it back and forth at about half speed. Just, move it back and forth for a couple minutes, and then I can start running it at full speed. And when I run it at full speed and I don't get that groaning noise, then I know I'm good. I can move on. But I'm also, running my Z up and down and running the Y back and forth.
Yeah. Right now I do the same thing too, just with my pendant and stuff. But I thought, I need to write a program, and like I said, I'll be happy to share it with everybody. And that way you can just load it up, hit it, like you said, Mark, slow it down real slow, and then gradually speed it up, and then you can run that for 10 or 15 minutes before you start putting a good, expensive workpiece on your machine and start messing. I wanted to say something real quick here too. When we talked about doing the New Year's Eve show, I kept thinking to myself, if anybody wants us to do one, we'll do one. But it's New Year's Eve. People got other things to do. We're not going to have much of a crowd, and I'll be dadgum if we don't have 102 people watching right now.
My God.
I think that's. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen it over 100 live viewers. So that's just amazing. I want to thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. That's awesome. Of course, I also feel sorry because I guess they don't have a life either. Like, just kidding.
I got a question, Dave.
Okay, go ahead, Russ.
I've noticed when I'm running the machine, and so far at this point, I actually just run it all the way to the front of the machine and do my cutting right there because I've done small things. But on occasion, I will see the left side, the lead screw will come out. The bearing will come out of the bearing holder, but not all the time. And I happen to look at, and that's when the gantry is all the way toward me at the front of the machine. And I was wondering if you thought that might be indicative of the machine not being square when I put it together and bolted everything down. It doesn't do it all the time, but it's done it 2 or 3 times, and that made me wonder about it. Yeah,
well, I don't want to say you put it together out of square because you may have it fine, but when you're all the way up close, and the bearing he's talking about, folks, is up near the front of the machine. So if there's any misalignment, that lead screw will make that, it's going to make that bearing kind of pop out probably. And you could probably fix that by when that bearing comes out, because it may loosen up. It's a press fit in that HDPE, but over time, if that loosens up, you could actually take that HDPE and drill a hole and tap it. You know, stuff taps really good. And you could put you like a set screw in there to hold that in there if that becomes a problem.
Okay. Well, like I said, it hasn't done anything to mess up the cut on the wood or anything like that, because it's only got like about maybe 6 inches at the most when it pops out, and it's still solid. It's solid and stiff, and so it doesn't affect the cut on the wood. I just happened to notice it one time, so I just popped it right back in and went on with it. I just didn't know if that meant that it might be just a little off square, or
well, it could be, but you know, it's hard to tell. And if it doesn't do it all the time, it's you know, all that bearing is for is just to support that end of the lead screw, keep it from flopping around.
Yeah, it doesn't do it until it gets all the way to the front, and then it doesn't do it all the time. You know, that's what was concerning me. I was just like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Okay, now did we get? I want to make sure we didn't miss out on Mark, because I know I was asking you about your resolutions, Russ. What about you, Mark? Have you got anything big or?
Yeah, I've got a couple of big things coming up. A couple of them I can't talk about because I don't want to jinx myself, and I know if I mention it, it won't happen. But one big one is that I finally made the command decision. I've made no secret of the fact that I'm basically in an 8x12 garden shed. So I'm building another shed. I've got to, because right now what I have to do is I have to take about half of my tools out in the driveway to get into the shed to even work on the CNC. And I just can't do that when it's weather like this. I mean, it's been basically raining off and on since late September. And so I haven't been in the shop since August.
Wow.
So yeah, and so I have got to build another shed. So that's what I'm going to do. I probably won't video it. I mean, it's not video worthy, but I'm definitely building a shed so I can get out there. And I'm going to do some changes on the channel. I'm going to try to do a couple of cigar box guitar builds on the channel, but basically get back into building. So that's what's coming up for me. I'm kind of, I want to get away. I've got 3 more software videos I want to get done, and then I kind of want to get away from software and get into building and be done with it. So
yeah, I you know, I mentioned the home switch and limit switch and stuff like that I want to do. Some of my other things, and I hate to use the word resolutions because, you know, it's kind of just stuff that's on my to-do list. Some of these things have been on my to-do list for a long time, but I've had a TV stand and a trestle farm table drawn up in SolidWorks, ready to go, and I just haven't had time to get out there and build it. So that's something I want to get accomplished in 2017. Another thing that I'm going to try to make myself do is I have always used, well, for the most part, Live Movie Maker as my video editing software. And I don't even remember how long it's been. I may have had that stuff a year now. But a while back, I bought Sony Movie Studio Suite. And it's, you know, it's got a lot more stuff in it than the Live Movie Maker. You can do a lot more with it. And every time I would try to use it, I didn't shoot videos often enough to remember what I did the last time. So I just got frustrated, and I'd always go back to Live Movie Maker. So one of the things I want to do in 2017 is when I go out and shoot video, I'm going to try to make myself use that software so I can learn it. Because I know if I don't make myself use it, I'll never learn it. But anyway, and hopefully I can put out videos more quicker together so that I won't forget what I learned the last week or whatever. But I tell you, I've been so busy, and I'm not complaining, folks. I'm not complaining at all. But I have been so busy between the GarageWorks CNC sales and the Gatton CNC kits that I haven't had a whole lot of time to shoot any kind of videos. like I said, I'm not complaining. I appreciate all the support. It's been a great year for me, and I'm looking forward to a really good 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do want to try to get back out in the shop and actually make some stuff.
I hear you. I hear you. Same here.
Yeah, with the CNC and without, just all kinds of stuff. I've got several things I programmed for the CNC and haven't had a chance to get out there and do them.
Mm-hmm.
They got people asking me about sheds I'm going to build. In my area, I can build anything up to 160 square feet without needing a building permit. I'm not looking for anything that big. I'm talking about something maybe 6 foot by 8 foot that's semi sort of portable, something I can move. And it's just basically to get a drill press, a compressor, and 3 roll around tool chests out of there, so I have a place to put stuff. Mm-hmm. And other guys are talking about how big of a shop area do you need around a CNC? And Todd H. CNC is saying sidewise 12 by 16 for his 4 by 6 CNC. I'm thinking that's about right. The way I figure it is take the cutting size of your machine and double it, and that's about what you need.
That is about what you need.
So if you've got 4 foot, go 8 foot by 8 foot around it, and you should be okay. I mean, and that's at the minimum,
mm-hmm.
Because you got to be able to get around it, and you got to be able to put material on it and take material off,
mm-hmm.
And you can't be climbing up on top of it to get to one corner,
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Peter Pasuelo. I don't know how long he's been over in the chat. I just now noticed.
There he is.
But it's already 2017 over there in New Zealand. So Happy New Year, Peter. Hope 2017 is going good for you so far.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
He's over there in New Zealand. All right.
Yeah.
And Tommy Gunn wants to say, by the way, Dave, I'm not a troll. My name is Josh, and I'm just one fat, ugly veteran.
Yeah.
Well, from one fat, ugly veteran to another there, Josh, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service,
Josh.
And by the way, when I was talking about the troll, it wasn't somebody named Tommy Gunn, so it was somebody else. But,
as long as you're not packing one, you're all right.
Yeah. But and one last hey, we got Chris Ahern in here. Hey, buddy.
How you doing, Chris?
Yeah.
Chris, go ahead and unmute yourself and tell everybody where they can find you and stuff. This is your first time, I think, being on the panel on my show here. Well, maybe not. Looks like we lost him.
He was having connection problems earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one other thing I wanted to I guess it's going to try to be my resolution. I'm not very good at keeping resolutions, but as you know, the CNC Dave show we've done started in April 23rd, I think was the first show we did. So this is like the 34th show. And sometimes, believe it or not, I know this may surprise some people, but sometimes we actually get a little bit long-winded on here.
Yeah.
I know.
Really?
That's one thing.
That'll never happen today.
That's one thing I want to try to do better in 2017 is try to keep the show, as close to an hour as I can. And the reason for that is, when we're all on here hanging out and having a good time, that's one thing. But after the show then becomes a video, people look and go, gosh, 2 hours. I'm not going to watch that. It takes too long. So I want to try to keep it down to, as close to an hour as we can, which by the way, we're getting pretty close.
Well, I've got some things I need to get through here unless we don't have time.
Okay. Well, let's go. Let's roll through them real quick.
Okay. Well,
whoa, wait just 1 second. I'd like to say one thing before you get started. You may go over to the 2 hour mark on your show, but you'll never top my 1 year anniversary because we went for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to try to top those marathon shows. I'm trying to cut them down. I think I had one go 2 hours and 15
a few minutes. Yeah.
Like that one time. And that's just way too long. So, all
I agree. And I just had to poke that jest at you, Dave. I just had to poke that jest.
Okay. Well, you can do the marathon shows, Russ.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, Todd H. CNC wants to know, what's the hardest material you've cut on your machine? He has cut granite. What's the hardest you've ever cut?
Are you talking to me?
Everybody.
As far as my machines, probably the hardest thing I've cut is 6061 aluminum.
Okay.
And and that's because my machines, I don't, you're running a router. It should be wood or plastic or soft metals or something.
The hardest thing I've ever cut was Corian, and that came out nice. So
I'm just wood, so
yep.
The hardest thing I've ever cut would be hickory. I want to tell you, hickory is some hard crap.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That's why they use it for hammer handles. So
yeah.
Okay, David Battershell wanted to know what kind of remote controllers people use on their CNC, like a pendant or an Xbox or what have you. I use the Xbox 360 controllers, what I use.
Yeah, and we've done a whole, well, maybe not a whole show, but or maybe it was a whole show. I don't remember. Well, we talked about the Mach 3 pendant that I got off of Amazon. And I know right after I talked about that, a whole bunch of people said, yeah, I got the same thing. So
yeah,
that's a popular one. It's I think it's like $40, $39.99 or something like that. And they work great. I got 2 of them.
I got one. I haven't done the updates on it to make it fully functional, but I do use it as it came out of the box.
I mean, even if you get it and just use what works right off the bat when you plug it in, it's still very helpful.
It is for me.
Yeah.
I've only got the front of my machine to work around, so it helps me a lot.
Yeah.
I got one.
Big time.
I got one, and it's because of Dave Gatton. I really hate him when he buys stuff because I have to buy it too.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, this is kind of not CNC related, but it is show related. So Joseph Connor wanted to know, how do you video your computer screen when you're videoing a tutorial, such as on yours and Dave's videos? That's from Joseph Connor. If you're talking about the live show here, when we share what we're showing on the screen, that's a setting. We're all talking with one another on Google Hangouts, and that's a setting, that's a little tool that we have in the Hangout. But if you're talking about like my software videos, I use a product called Flashback Express by Blueberry Software. You'll have to Google it. I can't put a link in the description, but it's called Flashback Express. It's completely free. It's got a lot of good features in it. And they do offer a pro version. I just haven't needed anything that they offer in the pro version. I've been using the free version for about a year, and it works real well. So that's what I use.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
No other questions that I found. I don't know if anybody out there has any more questions they want to throw out.
Okay. Well, I know we're running short on time here. We're a little past the hour here. So I wanted to do one more thing before we get off of here. And I'm going to go through this real quick. I wanted to personally thank all of the folks that have been I guess we'll call it a spotlight guest on the show here. And I'm just going to read off a list of names. So that, I made a list earlier so I wouldn't miss anybody. Marlo Swazinski. I hope I said your last name right, Marlo. I don't know. I hope it's close. Mark Lindsay, Melinda Davies, Richard Moeller. He's been on here talking about his chain drive 4x8. Michael Mertzke. We had him on back when he still had his X car. Laney Shaughnessy was on here showing the digital wood carver. Steve Carmichael was on here talking about the guitar he made with his X car. Russell Clarity was on here talking about his Safety Orange GarageWorks CNC. Mark Graves. showed some of his projects and talked about his shoestring build. Tommy Gonzalez was on here and talked about his Super Monster X Carve upgrade that he did. We had Zach Manring that was showing off his iconic CNC. Jim Sinicola was showing his, and he's got a beautiful machine, by the way. And I know I'm a little biased, but he has a Gatton CNC build, and the way he stained it or painted it or whatever it is, it's gorgeous. Bill Griggs was on here talking about how to make money with your CNC. Drew Short was showing his Piranha CNC. Jerry Brown was on here fairly recently talking about his where he had upgraded his X-Carve with the chain drive. And then most recently we had Becca Miller just the other week, a couple of weeks ago, I guess, talking about her shoestring build. And also I want to give a shout out to Peter Pasuelo, who has been on here a few times, and he was really instrumental in getting us all straightened out on the Mach 3 pendant that we were just talking about earlier. So just want to give a shout out to all those folks and say thank you for being on the show. And do we have any other questions before we get out of here? I see we've got some folks sneaking in. Who left the door open? Charles Geary in here?
I think Russ left the door open. I'm sorry I'm late to your CNC party.
Okay. Chris Ahern, how are you doing, buddy?
Going on, man.
Hey, I figured, what the heck, we would bomb the Dave Gatton show with the Let's Talk Russ show.
Yeah, that looks like that's what's happening here, because I could have sworn we closed the door earlier, but somebody left it open, looks like.
It's a rare.
Hey, if you don't want us, we can leave.
No, the more the merrier.
It was that other Russ.
I've been thrown out at better places, you know.
No doubt.
I'm more civilized in the CNC room.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark Graves is out there in the chat. Y'all need to go check out Mark Custom Design YouTube channel. He does some fantastic work. But when he starts firing up that airbrush, look out. You're through. He really does some excellent work on that.
Yeah, and he's been putting out the videos pretty regular.
And I'm real glad to see it.
Yeah, me too.
I guess I better subscribe to him. I missed them all.
You know what? I've learned so much just watching him, his methods for masking and the way he paints and then uses the airbrush to add detail. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to denigrate anybody's work. A lot of people can carve and then paint and do really nice looking signs. But when you look at Mark's stuff, I mean, you go back and you look at the aircraft signs and the hockey team signs that he does, and you see how he takes that airbrush and adds the extra detail. I mean, it just blows everybody else out of the water. I can't say enough about him. And I'm really, really learning a lot from watching him. So
okay,
well, go check him out.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, all of the names that I mentioned earlier, folks that have been on the show, if you look down in the description, there should be links to everybody's channel. It's anybody that's ever been on the show, I think, is their links there. So check them out, subscribe to them, support them a little bit. And I guess we're going to wrap this one up, guys. We're after 10.
All right.
Still got 85 folks watching. Thank you all for hanging around tonight. I know it's time to go celebrate the new year a little bit. Just be safe. I don't know if you've been able to hear. There's fireworks going off around here. I don't know if it's the mic's picking it up at all, but there's been people already out here with fireworks. So
we've got we got tons of fireworks going off around here. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but
my dog's going nuts right now because of it.
Okay,
Mark's custom. He said his link isn't over there.
Nuts. I thought I had everybody.
No, it's not.
Okay, Mark, I'll get it. I'll get that added. Thought you were on here. Yep. I missed
And
it.
Harold, yes, Flashback Express. That's the name of the program. It's Blueberry software, Flashback Express.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Everybody be safe. Have a happy new year. Thanks, guys, for being on the panel tonight. Thanks, everybody, for being out there watching. I still can't believe we had over 100 people watching there at one time on a New Year's Eve. So that's awesome. Anyway, y'all come back next week. We're going to do the announce the winners of the Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge. And then the week after that, like I said, put on a pot of coffee and be ready to spend the night with us while we give the GarageWorks CNC away, starting at 9 Eastern Standard Time. All right. Thanks, guys.
yeah, you've got about 2 hours to get over there to the GarageWorks CNC website and get signed up. So
Yeah.
if you haven't entered to win that CNC, you're just wrong and you know it.
Yep. Exactly right.
Yeah. I've had about 9 entries, I think, since.
You kidding me?
No way, 14 of them just since the show's been going on here. So
You're going to hit 1,000.
yeah, it's going to be close. We're about 925 or 30, something like that now. So
Just
Yeah.
give me sawdust.
it'll be close.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pig.
So all right, we're out of here, guys. Happy New Year. Everybody take
Happy
care.
New
Be
Year.
safe.
Happy
We'll
New
see
Year.
you
Don't
all
forget a thumbs up
Around
down here.
me and everywhere.